Yo! Welcome back to One More Mana. My name's Derek, and today I am so excited to get back into the Deck Doctor series. But before we get started, please go down into the description below, click on our affiliate link with TCG Player, and this is a really awesome deck. There's some really cool cards in here. Go ahead, click on the link below, and buy cards through that link. It's going to help support the channel, support everything we do, so we can keep putting out all this content for you guys. We really, really do appreciate it. TCG Player is awesome. Go ahead, buy some crazy cards on there. Make sure at least a few of them have Infect. Do your thing. But thank you guys so much. Today's deck is from one of our amazing patrons, Red Deck Tries, and I am so excited to take a look at this deck. For one, Red Deck Tries, if you don't follow them on Twitter, go ahead and do it. It's a very fun Twitter follow. But also, this is just a super unique deck idea, and I absolutely love it. So we're going to get right into it. The commander for this deck is Palladia-Mors, and this is the new one from M19. And this kind of really doesn't give a hint as to what the deck wants to do, and that's the thing I love so much about it. Commander is kind of just there to serve its role in this amazing Naya Spirits token deck. So really, the goal for this was we wanted to go ahead with Palladia-Mors as the commander, make this Naya Spirits token deck based largely around the awesome effects of two cards. Number one is Clash of Realities. Clash of Realities is our hidden commander in the deck. It's a super cool card. Because we're going to be making a lot of 1/1 little spirit tokens, we don't care about the effect of other creatures getting to fight our spirits. But the fact that our spirits can come in and deal damage to other creatures is just an amazing ability. And you can really clear the board of a lot of threats like that. It's a really cool card. So we're going to run plenty of tutors, plenty of recursion to make sure we can get this card out. Now, obviously, this isn't a way to win the game by itself, which is where Palladia-Mors comes in. Palladia-Mors using effects like Devouring Rage is a huge, awesome finisher for a deck like this. The way this deck is generally going to run, and the way I see it running, is you're going to use all these spirit tokens as fodder. Essentially, these are a currency that we're going to be able to utilize at different stages of the game to get what we need this deck to do. And all throughout, we have this huge Palladia-Mors that can just smash people in the face for lethal to keep people off our backs, and at the very least, it's a huge hexproof blocker to get our strategies basically going. If you guys have seen the Kaikar deck tech, it's almost similar to that. In a way, again, we want these tokens as currency to allow our deck to do other things. And with cards like Clash of Realities, we can have huge benefits from tokens and other spirits that we have entering the battlefield. Gain a lot of these synergies that we love from the Spirits Tribal, and that all go together with this huge finisher of a dragon that we have at the head of the deck. Might sound like a lot, but follow me as we go through this. This seems like a really fun, really unique deck, and a commander I really don't see played enough. So looking at the creatures, not only do we want lots of spirit token creators, we want spirits in general, because Clash of Realities, again, is we want to be able to tutor for it, get it out, keep it out, so we can get these awesome triggers. So we're going to have lots of spirits, but there's a lot of cards we basically want to run with these spirits to get maximum value. Looking at the original deck list, and definitely go ahead and look at the Doctor deck list and the original deck list. The original deck list is very well put together. Always talking about that prognosis. It's a very healthy deck. We're not trying to bring anything back to life here. We're just trying to make it a little bit healthier. And you have a lot of the amazing big spirits. You have a lot of the small token producers. You have a lot of the Spirits Matters type cards, which is awesome to see. I do feel like, especially in this creature slot, there's some utility creatures, though, that we could slot in that are just going to take full advantage of having all these, little spirits everywhere. The first one is Orin Frostfang. Now, this is a very interesting card, but it does so much of what we want to do. Now, I mentioned using these little spirit tokens as a type of currency, and this is the main way I see this happening in a deck like this. These little spirits are 1/1 flyers, so it's going to be very, very easy to go in and poke people with them, and they're 1/1s. People aren't that concerned with 1 damage hitting them. Orin Frostfang makes it even more undesirable to block them because it gives your attacking creatures Death Touch. On top of that, whenever your attacking creatures deal damage, you get to draw a card. This is amazing, and it's per creature. So if you swing with 5 spirits, you can draw 5 cards. Nobody wants to block a spirit that has Death Touch with one of their creatures that matters. Trading a 1/1 little token for an actual creature that matters, not a great idea. And when you have a 6/6 dragon just chilling, hanging back, relaxing, they're going to need flyers to block it. They don't want to waste their flyers blocking little spirit tokens that just so happen to have Death Touch. So you're going to be able to get a lot of damage through, draw a lot of cards, and get your engines rolling. Now the next card is almost fits a value roll in this deck. Normally this is the game winning card, but I think this is just an incremental value card, and it's Purphoros. Purphoros would just do work in this deck. It's an indestructible enchantment, really hard to remove. You're not going to have it turn on as a creature very often, so it's even harder to remove. It's not like we're playing elves or goblins or saplings. We're not trying to drop 30 creatures in a turn. Really, Purphoros isn't here to kill the whole table in a turn. This is the type of card that just gets us incremental value. If we're making 2 or 3 spirits this turn, let's just deal some damage. Making a couple more spirits this turn, let's deal a little bit more damage and just get life totals low. And again, we want our Palladia-Mors to serve as a finisher, and this incremental damage we can get in throughout the game. Obviously, commander damage is great, but if you can just incrementally bring people down throughout the game, all of a sudden, you don't even need to get to 21. Palladia-Mors can be the big flying finisher. You might only need to deal, 10, 15 damage if Purphoros is able to be out there doing work throughout the game. Probably the best spirit that I didn't already see on the list was Twilight Drover. This card is phenomenal. When your tokens leave, you get +1 counters on it. We have some other ways to get +1 counters on it in the deck, and you can remove +1 counters to just essentially just poop out tokens. For lack of a better phrase, you're going to be making so many spirits. You're going to have so many spirits. And it's only 3 mana to get 2 spirits, which isn't a bad rate. Not to mention, if these leave, you get more +1 counters to then do it again and again. This is just a phenomenal effect. And especially because we're a Naya, so we have access to green, we're able to ramp. So, in a mono white deck, paying 3 mana for 2 tokens might not be the best rate, but when you get access to a lot of mana, this is a great mana sink, and believe me, we're going to be able to put plenty of +1 counters on this thing. And even at times, if you needed it to be, it could even serve as a weird finisher, because you could just sack a whole bunch of tokens, get it huge, and swing at somebody. So it's got utility, but really it's there to just make a ton of spirits, and this is one of the biggest, really has the biggest potential to just be an insane spirit token producer in the deck. Now, the last creature I want to talk about is more about Clash of Realities than the spirits themselves, and it's Rift Sweeper. Now, as someone who runs a deck based off of a non-commander with my Villainous Wealth deck, I know you need to be able to recur it, you need to be able to tutor for it, but every once in a while it will get exiled. And when the card that you are looking for so much to playing gets exiled, it feels so bad. So Rift Sweeper is a great card to have. Now, this obviously can bring anything back from exile, anything that you feel like you need in that moment, but obviously it's going to be there for Clash of Realities. If someone is able to exile it, it's great to just be able to go ahead and get it back. Now, looking at the artifacts, this category I think shows exactly what I mean by using these tokens as a currency and using it as a value engine that they do such a good job of. Really different than most token decks. These are flying tokens. These already have evasion. It's really, really broken to be able to just poke in with 1 damage that easily over and over again. So if you run cards like Sword of the Animist or Mask of Memory, that does an amazing, amazing job of just going ahead and getting value over and over again. Sword of the Animist just dump lands on the battlefield. And even if they block it, it doesn't matter. It's an attack trigger. Mask of Memory does an amazing job of filtering through your deck, just drawing cards. And more often than not, anytime you play a game of Commander, you go, does anybody have flyers? At least one person is trying to sit there real quiet, not tell you, but they don't have flyers. There's always going to be a player that you can get in with flyers. And it's just an amazing, amazing card to be able to spend very low mana, draw a whole bunch of cards, and get that value out of the tokens. And then the last equipment that I think fits the same role is Blade of the Blood Chief. Blade of the Blood Chief does so much for you because, 1, your spirit's dying, you're getting +1 counters on your commander. But also with Clash of Realities, as you're picking off other stuff, or they're killing your spirits, that's just piling up +1 counters as well. It's such a strong card, and it's one of those things that you just play it out, you put it on your commander, and especially because our commander has hexproof and we can just let it sit back, a couple turns go by, all of a sudden your commander might already be in lethal commander damage range with its evasion. It's very dangerous, and it's a very powerful card. So with the enchantments, there's obviously Clash of Realities is in there. We didn't need to go ahead and add that. That is the star of the deck. But another card that does just a phenomenal job of, again, using these tokens as a currency is Fecundity. Fecundity is awesome. Now, it's sort of dangerous, again, because Clash of Realities, you could be killing other people's stuff. They might be drawing cards. But with Fecundity, whenever you have a lot of tokens, Fecundity is not a bad card at all. Because, really, you have all these spirits out. If people want to attack you, chump blocking all of a sudden is drawing you into cards. And people already don't like fruitless attacks. If they're going to attack you and you're just going to chump, they might be hesitant. If you're going to be drawing cards off of it, they definitely won't want to attack. Anytime I run a deck with lots of tokens that are essentially just fodder for other things, Fecundity is just one of those cards. Obviously, it can help the whole table, but so most of the times with the token deck, you get the most advantage of it. Most of the time, you're taking full advantage of it. And every once in a while, stuff goes crazy. Everyone's drawing a bunch of cards. It seems like a fun game to me, though. So this card does, you get most benefit, but it does lead to some crazy fun games as well. And with these enchantments, the number one recommendation I do have is Cathar's Crusade. Cathar's Crusade is the best card possible as far as using tokens to buff a Voltron commander because, one, I mean, all your tokens are going to get huge. But every time these tokens are entering, you're just throwing +1 counters on the Palladia-Mors in addition to buffing all your other spirits. With any type of token deck in white, even though this is not the typical token swarm attack with the swarm type deck, Cathar's Crusade gets out of hand, and in a deck where, again, 21 commander damage adds up fast, and when you had this huge trampling evasive dragon to start with, you dump in those spirits, the utility gets crazy, and yeah, your board's going to get real scary real fast with this card. Looking at the sorceries, right now we're going to focus on basically one of those things I always talk about, having redundancies in your effects. Every deck needs board wipes, and I really wanted to address specifically the different board wipes we have available for this deck that I think are kind of strange, not the most efficient, but just synergize really well. The first one's Hour of Reckoning. This is a board wipe for all non-tokens. With Hour of Reckoning, you get a whole big board of spirits out, you can convoke, blow up everything else, leave your spirits back, and you're in a position where, yeah, you got to recast your commander, but you have the more commanding board state with the ways we have to utilize these spirits. Especially if you just, maybe pumped the board with the Cathar's Crusade, you keep all your army. You keep that whole army, and everything else is blown up. So this is a very good, and any type of token deck, Hour of Reckoning does a great job of almost acting as that one-sided type board wipe. Next we have Kurtar's Wrath and March of Souls. Both of these have the potential to wipe the board and make you spirits. Again, that synergy. You're getting the board wipe, but in addition, you're able to get spirits out of it. Now, with March of Souls, everyone also could get spirits, but because, again, you are the token deck, you're more worried about your benefit. And if you have a board full of spirits and everyone's getting scary, you can wipe the board, still keep your spirits, and instead of their big scary stuff, they just end up with spirits. And because your deck is better equipped to utilize that, you're in the better state. I just love having these type of board wipes in this deck, because usually in token decks, you don't want to be high on board wipes. You almost are never in a position where you want to wipe the board. But having board wipes is essential, and being able to synergize them and get some tokens or protecting your tokens, I just think these board wipes do a really good job of forwarding your strategy and while trying to set everybody else back a little bit more. With the instance, really the only additions we wanted to make here was we wanted to go ahead and throw some combat tricks, because like I said, that commander, that's our finisher. And we want to be able to, in different situations, get people out of nowhere. And because commander doesn't run a lot of combat tricks, people don't really tend to prepare for them. So Teamer Battle Rage and Boros Charm do an amazing job of this. Teamer Battle Rage is just straight up give something double strike. So all of a sudden your commander already starts at 6, doubling it to 12. There's so many situations where you buff your commander a little bit more, and yeah, it's going to get real scary. This card can get especially scary with a card like Devouring Rage, which you did point out is one of the favorite cards in the deck. This, with double strike, stuff just gets out of hand, and that could be a one-hit kill, which is crazy. And then Boros Charm is similar, except it also has the added benefit of being able to give your board indestructible. In addition, if you're not ready to give something double strike, that's just an awesome utility of having in a token deck. You want to be able to protect your board. That double utility of the card is just broken in this deck. So yeah, it can be a finisher, it can be a protector. It's just a very versatile card that does what we need to do in our token deck. Looking at the lands now, the number one is Kessig Wolfrun. We need Kessig Wolfrun in this deck. Kessig Wolfrun is so strong. I've talked about this. Any deck I have with Gruul, even when Gruul's always combat focused, but even if it wasn't combat focused, I still want Kessig Wolfrun in there. Kessig Wolfrun is just a huge mana sink that can just, kill somebody. And obviously the giving the trample doesn't matter as much because our commander already has trample, but again, commander damage adds up fast with all these double strike effects. Yeah, you don't need to buff it much. So Kessig Wolfrun is a great finisher, and as I always say, putting stuff like that in the land slot is essentially just a free spell because it's already tapping for colorless. It's just a free thing that you have added on. Super powerful, so definitely go ahead and put Kessig Wolfrun in. Alright, so that's it for other categories. Obviously now we got to go ahead and prescribe the top 3 things to make this deck as healthy as possible. I already said, the deck looks pretty good. It's a very healthy deck. Like I mentioned before, not bringing anything back from the grave. This is a very well put together deck. We're just going to go ahead and tweak some things. So for the first 2 slots, it's going to be cards we already mentioned. I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit here though. For that number 1 slot, we're going to do our own little mini game winning step. And I'm going to talk about some cards that work as just all out finishers that I didn't even talk about earlier. I wanted to say for this. Alright, so at the number 3 slot, we're going with Kessig Wolfrun. Kessig Wolfrun, I just mentioned it, literally just talked about it. It's just so powerful. Getting that in the land slot, in a deck where you already have that Voltron finisher, you want Kessig Wolfrun in there. It'll do an amazing job of finishing off some games that you kind of can win out of nowhere. Now at the number 2 spot, we have Twilight Drover. Twilight Drover is another card I mentioned before, and that is just insanely powerful. It can be one of the most consistent spirit generating engines that you get. And with Spirit Tribal, again, like I mentioned, there aren't goblins or elves or anything. They don't just make hundreds of tokens for fun. You have to work more, and it's one of the things I love about the tribe and the deck in general. You've got to work a little bit more to get it to get going. But this card, Twilight Drover, just does a phenomenal job of really just getting you so many tokens. Now, in this number one slot, number one thing I'm going to go ahead and prescribe for you, you know I had to give a little taste of Phyrexia to the deck. I have to do it in every deck, and we're doing it again. If you don't like Infect, I apologize, but come on. You did ask me to help with the deck, and there's going to end up being Infect in it, and that's through Grafted Exoskeleton and Triumph of the Hordes. These both, in their own way, do phenomenal jobs of serving as finishers. We'll start with Grafted Exoskeleton. This is pretty straightforward. You have a huge dragon that's already a 6/6, and then you just go ahead and give it +2/+2. And Infect, it's already got Trample, already got Evasion, it's already got Hexproof. Yeah, it doesn't take much buffing to go ahead and one-shot somebody with this. This card is insane. Worst case, throw it on some spirits, get some incremental Infect in. But this card is just amazing. Any type of Voltron deck, Grafted Exoskeleton is strong. When you have a commander like Palladia-Mors that is so ridiculous, it's so big, it's so evasive, and it has hexproof. Yeah, it's amazing. Grafted Exoskeleton is perfect in this deck. Now Triumph of the Hordes. Triumph of the Hordes is so perfect as well because most token decks you get Triumph of the Hordes out, or most decks with creatures. Oh, great. You get trampled. You trample some damage through. Yeah, you get a little buff. You have 1/1 flying spirits. Forget trample. Most things just can't be blocked. Most people aren't going to have enough flyers. If you just get a bunch of spirits out, all of a sudden you're buffing them. Maybe your commander's out too. Give them all +1/+1 infect. It's really easy just to take someone out. And for 4 mana, it's awesome. A bunch of poison. Just the whole flavor of that. You already got a bunch of ghosts flying around, a bunch of poison ghosts just killing everybody. It's about Halloween time. This is the perfect way to go be taking people out. So, yeah. I really recommend throwing those cards in there. And to be honest, I know how some people feel about Infect. I say it every video, but in a deck like this where you are building a very unique and flavorful deck, you need some strong finishers every once in a while. So I think these do a great job of getting you there and, giving a little love to Phyrexia in the process. So that's going to do it for this week's Deck Doctor. Like I said before, just following Red Deck Tries on Twitter, I've seen, I love the appreciation that you have for different cards. And I was not surprised at all when I saw the deck that was submitted and how just awesome, how flavorful it was, and just the different take you put on it. I was really excited to get to it, and I really hope I did it justice. A huge shout out, as always, to Seth and Kyle. They did a lot of work on this deck as well. We all kind of worked together on this to get this final product. So I really hope you do enjoy it. As always, huge shout out to all the patrons. We love y'all so much. Again, it's why we do stuff like this. Red Deck Tries, you are, again, one of our beloved patrons, and we really appreciate you supporting us, and I really hope that you enjoyed this little shout out in the work we did on the deck for you. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming in the future. Lots of deck doctors. There's a few more that are going to be coming out in the very near future. Lots of deck techs coming. Apparently there's like 1,000 legendary creatures getting released next year, so I might just not sleep all next year, just deck techs every day, because there's a lot of crazy stuff coming. Probably going to do some videos about that very soon. But lots of exciting stuff coming. Great news, gameplay has been recorded. I don't want to make any promises for us, sorry Seth, but there is gameplay that's been recorded, so I think it's coming very soon. It's coming. You can watch me dirtle around and try to kill some people with some ridiculous stuff. So hope you guys enjoy that. But until then, I will see you guys next time.